recently reflecting on my high school days and what were my priorities. You see, underneath my priorities is where I would feel like I was important, where I found my worth and my value. If you're popular, then you feel important. You feel like that's what marks me. To me, unfortunately, grades were not what drove me. I didn't get overly depressed if I wasn't getting straight A's. That's not what drove me, and that's not where I found my value. But it was, like so many others in our world, that had to do with sports. And for me, it was rugby. My dream was to be on the varsity rugby team. And if I was on the rugby team and I could play varsity rugby, then I was important. I had value. Now, as we go through life, those high school days for most of us are far behind and they really don't matter anymore. But we still struggle with worth and value. We question sometimes, does it really matter that I'm in this world? Does it matter, if I live or I die? And for some, our life gets very discouraging because they have determined their worth and their value in the circumstances and the values of the world. I was recently listening to a song by Keith and Kristen Getty, and also written by Graham Kendrick, titled "My Worth Is Not in What I Own." This speaks to us in many ways. Let me just read part of the lyrics of that song. "My worth is not in what I own, nor in the strength of flesh and bone, but in the costly wounds of love at the cross. My worth is not in skill or name, in win or lose, in pride or shame. I will not boast in wealth or might, or human wisdom's fleeting light, but I will boast in knowing Christ at the cross." The song powerfully reminds us that so often where we find our value and what makes us important is our wealth, is our prestige, is job security, is living in the right house, is having the right friends. They're all things that our culture says are important. And if you have that, you're valuable to society and you're valuable to this world. But that simply is a lie if we believe our value is based on our culture that surrounds us. The song so powerfully reminds us that if you're a believer in Jesus Christ, your worth and value is in what Christ has done for you. Have you ever paused to remember that you are so important that Christ gave up the splendor and glory of heaven? He came and went through all the challenges and difficulties of life, the hardships of life, and then he bore the physical pain on the cross, and most of all, he bore the wrath of God for our sin, for your sin in our place. And he did it for you. The God of all creation died for you. I tell you what, that gives any individual who's a believer in Jesus Christ great worth. I'm Bob Orner, and I'd like you to think about that.